Hey guys, welcome back. This is my Ableton journal. In today's journal entry, I wanted to talk a bit about the importance that I've come to find in having enough sends, especially if you're working with dub techno or other kinds of atmospheric type of genres. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is simply because it's such an easy trick to really get right from the very start, if you ask me. I mean, this chord sound that I have right here, it's relatively basic. I only have a kick and a hi-hat and one sub, and a clap that's playing like every fourth bar or something like that. And when you have such a bare amount of instruments, like you really need to be able to fill up that space in between all of these notes. And the simplest way to do this is just by adding a ton of reverb and delays on your sends, basically. So this demo track here is based off of a track that I sort of demoed in this previous video that I made like a month ago at this point in time. But for the sake of demonstration, I figured I'd put together a new composition in the same vein of that track, which I'm looking to get released at some point. So to break things down here, I'm not going to go through the drums as they are pretty basic, to be honest. On this chord channel, we only have, let me just disable all of the effects here. What we're working with is a very simple patch in operator. You see, it's just a square wave, and the second oscillator is being FM modulated by the D oscillator here. So combined. It sounds pretty noisy and messy, and what really made this one chord work initially was this relatively simple patch that I put together in Guitar Rig. Essentially, it's just a bunch of phasers stacked on top of each other with some varying parameters. I haven't been paying too much attention to exactly the kind of frequencies that are going on here. And at the very end, I also have one instance of Raum. This is like a delay slash reverb unit also from Native Instruments. And because of these filters, essentially the sound ends up being much thinner, and also it's being modulated, obviously. So without the delay, there's also some slight vibrato on here. After that, I have one instance of this really nice little plugin called Sketch Cassette from Aberrant DSP. Basically, it's gonna like degrade the sound quality of our initial chord, and so with it and without. After that, I have one instance of echo, relatively easy stuff going on here. Let me enable the delay here again. After that, one little splash of color limiter just to bring up the volume a bit. After that again, I have one instance of the UAD API analog model EQ. And here I'm more or less just doing more EQ, essentially removing a lot of the lows here with a high pass filter, as well as I'm dipping around 50, let's see, 6 dB at 50 hertz. And that's it, because I just felt it was like a bit honky around the lower frequencies. So, but all of that aside, that was not the point of this video. Now, let me start by going through the various sends I have, and I'm going to enable them one by one as I talk through them. On send number 1, I have one instance of Soundtoys Little Plates. This is a very nice sounding little plate plugin, essentially just it's a nice reverb. I've rolled off the highs quite substantially and set the decay time to around 8 seconds. And just adds a tiny bit more space. On my B send, I have one instance of delay. Just ever so slightly nudged the right channel to be out of sync with a relatively high feedback, and I've just decreased the width a tiny bit. After that, I have one instance of the amazing stereo spring, or like the Convolution Reverb Pro, where I'm using simply a preset from the Springs presets that comes with it, just to add more, like I really want space to my delays, essentially. So these two together. On my C send, I have one instance of, again, this is a UAD plugin. It's the Galaxy Tape Echo with the preset Dub Slap. I've demoed this in my previous videos as well, and I just tend to keep it on here just because I feel like this preset sounds nice and I don't feel like tweaking it or changing it if it's already working. That's giving us more of that monophonic spring, weird delay, tape delay kind of sound. So for the next one, it's another instance of amazing stereo spring. And here again, I've just gone ahead and just changed the impulse response to one of these other springs here, not just defaulting to the amazing stereo spring. Again, I'm not sending a whole lot to this send as is. Because if I'm being real here, I'm not really sure how audible this is, but I feel like in combination with all the other ones, there's like when one spring or one effect really fades out, it's still there in a sense. And I just feel like it sounds nice. I tend to use this spring more liberally on my claps, for instance, or my hi-hats to get that typical twangy reverb spring here and there. So anyways, on my next send again, number E, I have one instance again of this Soundtoys. I'm a big fan of Soundtoys, by the way. Spaceblender, which is basically just a super big, super long sounding reverb. And this is going to creep more up as the track progresses, because this is more like this. It's such a long reverb. Because this definitely adds a ton of ambience. Here again, I've just dipped the lows a bit just to clean it up. On the next send again, I'm running one instance of the UAD Lexicon plugin. And I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying that you definitely need to go out and buy these plugins. These are relatively expensive ones. I'm aware of that. I would recommend you just to look into using different kinds of reverbs generally. You don't need Lexicon or you don't need UAD stuff. You can definitely get away with something like hybrid reverb, for instance. It has a lot of nice sounding reverbs in that unit. But anyways, the preset here is the Lexicon snare plate. After that, I'm running one instance of Decapitator, and here I'm just rolling off some of the lows and some of the high frequencies. And after that again, I have one instance of Sketch Cassette again. A really big fan of this plugin, to be honest. What's really nice about it is that it has a ton of different tape models, and you can set the amount of wear on the tape, as well as dial in some saturation. It has really nice sounding cassette hiss. It also comes with a compressor built into it. The next send is my G send. And this here is the Crystallizer. Now this plugin, I would say, makes a massive difference in this soundscape that I've got going here. Let's take a listen. So first without it. And now we're gonna add it in. This is so nice, to be honest. It adds, what this does is basically gives us a reversed pitched delay, pitches down one octave. And with a hybrid reverb after the fact, it's going to give us that nice, very big sounding, sort of ghostly repeat and copy of that initial chord. We could listen to just these two in solo. To me, this is just this is really nice. I really like this sound, to be honest. And what's also really nice is that we can, as you probably know, we can also send these back into the other sends we've got going. Essentially, I like to send this back into probably the biggest reverb I have, which in this case is the Spaceblender. just creates this super nice ambience. So lastly, the final thing I have in this project is one instance of Convolution Reverb Pro, or dare I say, these are two instances of Convolution Pro. One of them is they're tuned a bit differently, which creates this really nice tonal pad, to be honest. Here again, I'm adding OTT after the fact. And the reason for this is not, as I have stated previously in one of my videos, to just bring up the volume, because we could essentially just do that within a utility. And if we try that, you get this kind of sound. And to me that sounds very nasal and very honky, and I don't like that. So, but what I do like is the sound of OTT just at 34% in this case. Because it really it smashes the high frequencies. And it just makes for a very nice, like, high frequency, weird metallic texture that's going on in the background. After the fact, I have simply put one instance of track spacer, and this is just for it to duck whenever the chords hits, because I don't necessarily want these two to compete too much. I really want this to be more of a background element that pops up whenever the chord is not playing. And lastly, in my effects chain here, I have one instance of the UAD Brigade chorus. Not 1,000,000% sure of which chorus pedal or effects unit this was modeled after, but it's a classic one, I can assure you. Again, this just creates some really nice movement, again, in like the whole sound. And just to double check that as well, on my mastering chain, the main thing I have here is some tape emulation, the Studer A800 with the Dancehall 80s preset, and I don't know, I just like the sound of Studer, to be honest, so I don't think too much of it, of is this the best way or whatever to do it, you know, because in combination with the simple beat that I had, so I hope this was enlightening. Like, I wanted to talk about this because I feel like I myself spent quite a lot of time exploring dub techno and these kind of production techniques before I sort of started to realize that there's almost no limit, well, with the exception of Ableton's built-in limit of maximum 12 cents. But besides that, there's actually no limit on how crazy and creative you can get with these cents. And I feel like the main thing that I've taken away from producing and learning about dub techno is that atmosphere and texture is everything, basically. And if I were to summarize this entire video into 1 or 2 sentences, it would be: you're not using enough cents. Use more cents. Trust me, they're gonna make a huge difference in your dub techno tracks. And if you have any questions about this approach, or if you disagree with me on anything, feel free to let me know in the comments. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to catch you in the next video. For anyone interested, I am still offering one-on-one Ableton Live music production coaching for anyone who wants to level up their music production or mindset skills. If you're interested in learning more about what I offer and about me, check the link at the very bottom of this video. Again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.